The wife stood on the balcony, staring down at the lavish Valentine's Day party with cold, dead eyes. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Her husband, the CEO, was holding a woman in his arms. And it wasn't just any woman, it was the poor student. The wife had personally sponsored for years. She decided to test him. Trembling, she dialed his number, down below. The CEO picked up, a charming smile on his face. "I'm at home." "Missing you?" he lied effortlessly, right before pulling the mistress into a passionate kiss. The guest whispered, praising him for having a wife abroad and a lover at home, calling it a man's ultimate fortune. The wife's heart shattered. Flashbacks flooded her mind. 2 years ago, when the CEO was crippled and hopeless, she had begged the doctor to let her help. She sacrificed her own blood for 2 years to create the cure that made him walk again. She gave up her health for him, and this was her reward. Watching him light the same blue fireworks he once promised her. For another woman. She made a choice. She accepted a top-secret research job abroad that would require her to vanish. She signed the divorce papers and threw his tracking necklace into the trash. But the CEO was a psychopath. He came home early, dug the necklace out of the garbage, and forced it back around her neck. "You can never leave my sight," he whispered obsessively. He was terrifying. He claimed he loved her. Yet he didn't even realize she had been standing right behind him at the party. Trying to play the perfect husband, he dragged her to a rose garden. He claimed he hid 20 gifts inside, one for every birthday she missed. He got down on one knee reciting a script about eternal love. But suddenly, the mistress popped out from the bushes. She acted all cute and innocent, hunting for the gifts meant for the wife. The wife found the grand prize, a solid gold rose, but the mistress immediately pouted, demanding she have it. And the audacious CEO actually took the mistress's side. "It's her birthday," he said dismissively. "Just let her have it." The wife looked at the two of them and finally saw the truth. He was using the exact same romantic tactics on both of them. He was nothing but a cheap fraud. "I only want things that are unique," she said icily. "If you've given it to someone else, then I don't want it." She shoved the gold rose back at him and walked away, leaving the CEO standing there realizing he might have just lost the only woman who ever truly loved him. For good. The wife looked down at the golden rose, a pathetic attempt by her cheating husband to buy her forgiveness. "I hate affection that arrives too late," she whispered cold-heartedly, and tossed the expensive gift straight into the swimming pool. Suddenly, the mistress saw her chance to act. "Don't throw it away," she cried, and dramatically plunged into the freezing water to retrieve it. It was a perfect trap. The CEO arrived at that exact moment, and he fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. He didn't care that his wife was standing there shivering. He only saw his precious mistress wet and cold. "Are you crazy?" he screamed at the wife. "You know she has a weak constitution." He scooped the mistress up in his arms, treating the wife like a murderer, and carried the other woman away without looking back. Alone in her room, the wife saw a notification. The mistress had posted a photo of the CEO rubbing her stomach to soothe her cramps. It was the exact same intimate gesture he used to comfort the wife years ago. He wasn't just a cheater, he was a lazy copycat recycling his romance. Things turned deadly when the rose garden suddenly caught fire. The mistress cornered, the wife in the flames, finally dropping her innocent mask. "He cares more about me," she sneered, poking the wife in the chest. "You're just an old woman with wrinkles. I'm the one he truly wants." But the moment the CEO appeared through the smoke, the mistress threw herself to the ground and pretended to be unconscious. The CEO rushed past his wife as if she was invisible. He picked up the mistress and ran to safety, leaving the wife to suffocate alone in the burning garden. She woke up in a hospital bed to find the CEO holding her hand, looking guilty. "I didn't know you were inside," he lied smoothly. "I only saved her out of responsibility. You are my life." He almost sounded convincing, until a nurse burst into the room. "Sir, the mistress is throwing a tantrum," she yelled. "She got a splinter in her finger and refuses to calm down." The CEO's face went pale with panic. "She's so sensitive," he muttered, and immediately let go of the wife's hand to run to his lover. The nurses in the hallway gossiped, calling him a doting hero for worrying about a splinter, while his legal wife lay there with smoke inhalation. The wife laughed bitterly. 10,000 promises of love couldn't compare to one tiny scratch on that woman's hand. Her phone rang. It was the confirmation she needed. Her flight to the other side of the world was booked. It was time to disappear. The wife was done. She circled the date on her calendar. 3 days left until she vanished forever. But the mistress wasn't finished playing games. She confronted the wife with a smirk. "Let's play a game to see how he reacts when he loses me." That night, the CEO tried to be romantic with the wife, demanding alone time, but the moment his phone rang with news that the mistress was missing, he abandoned his wife instantly. "I have to find her," he yelled, storming out. Leaving the wife alone in the dark again, he found the mistress trembling in a corner. She pointed a shaking finger at the wife, sobbing. "She sent me to a torture camp. They electrocuted me." It was a blatant lie, but the CEO, blinded by rage, didn't ask for proof. He screamed at his wife, "How can you be so evil? She's just a child." He didn't believe a single word of his wife's defense, and walked away with the liar in his arms. Later that night, things took a horrific turn. A group of men broke into the wife's bedroom, gagged her, and dragged her away. She woke up tied to a chair with a black bag over her head, and heard a familiar voice. It was her husband. The mistress had staged a fake rescue. She pointed at the hooded figure, the wife, and lied. "That's the instructor who tortured me." The CEO, thinking the hooded woman was a stranger, grabbed a whip. "You hurt my woman," he growled. "I'll give you 100 lashes myself." The wife tried to scream through the gag, but no sound came out. She watched in terror as the man she once loved raised the whip and struck her again and again. He was beating his own wife to please his mistress. When he was done, he tossed the whip aside. The mistress, delighted by the violence, suddenly noticed his leg was hurting. "Take your medicine," she cooed. But the CEO realized his pills were gone. "Ask her for more," he said, pointing at the battered woman in the chair. "Or just let her rot." He kicked the chair over and stormed out, disgusted that the stranger had touched his pants. The wife lay on the cold floor, broken and bleeding. The mistress leaned down, whispering the final, crushing secret. "Watching you suffer reminds me of that night 2 years ago. The night I crashed into him and broke his legs." The wife's eyes widened in horror. The mistress was the one who crippled him, and she had just tricked him into torturing the only person who actually healed him. The mistress finally confessed her darkest secret to the wife. "I was drunk that night," she laughed maniacally. "I wanted to kill you with my car, but I crashed into him instead." She admitted to crippling the CEO 2 years ago. "But I still won," she gloated, "because I'm young and beautiful, and you're just an old hag." The wife recorded everything, but she didn't use it to fight back. She was done fighting. The next day, the wife received the call she was waiting for. Her $5 billion divorce settlement was finalized. She packed her bags and left the tracking necklace on the table as a final gift. Inside the locket was the hidden camera that recorded the mistress's confession. She walked out the door, leaving her abusive marriage behind forever. Meanwhile, the CEO was still cuddling with the mistress, demanding the wife apologize for the fake kidnapping. But when he tried to call his wife to scold her, he was blocked. Suddenly, his legs gave out. He collapsed in agony, screaming for his medicine. But the bottle was empty. The mistress had nothing to offer him but useless tears. At the hospital, the doctor delivered the brutal truth. "Without the special medicine your wife makes, you will be paralyzed again." The CEO panicked. "Take me to her," he screamed, dragging his useless legs into the car. He rushed home, shouting her name, but the house was empty. The servants told him they were sent away by a text message from his phone. He turned to the mistress, furious. "You used my phone to clear the house so she could leave." The mistress tried to deny it, blaming the wife, but the CEO checked the security footage and saw his wife walking out with her luggage hours ago. "She actually left me," he roared, his ego shattered. "Lock down the entire city. Find her." He turned on the mistress with cold eyes. "What did you do to drive her away?" The mistress, realizing she might be losing her meal ticket, desperately cried, "Who cares about her? You need her medicine or you'll be a cripple." But the CEO wasn't listening. He found the divorce papers on the table. The CEO was desperate. He had his men lock down the entire airport just to stop his wife from leaving. "Nobody flies until she comes back to me," he roared like a maniac, causing chaos among the other passengers. They begged the wife to surrender, guilt-tripping her into staying with her abuser. The CEO thought he had won. He grabbed her hand, acting like a benevolent king forgiving a rebellious subject. "Come home," he said softly. "We can forget this divorce nonsense." But the wife just stared at him with pity. "I told you," she said calmly. "We are already divorced." He laughed in her face. "Impossible," he shouted. "Our marriage only ends when one of us dies." He was completely delusional. But then, the wife made a call, and her lawyer stepped out from the crowd. The lawyer handed the CEO a document that shattered his world. "The divorce was finalized 7 days ago," he stated coldly. "And according to the agreement you signed, half your assets and $5 billion have already been transferred to her." The CEO's knees buckled. He fell to the floor, gasping for air. "I never signed that," he screamed. But the wife looked down at him and whispered the chilling truth. "You signed it 2 years ago, when you thought you were crippled for life and wanted to push me away." The karma was delicious. The very document he used to protect her back then. The mistress tried to intervene, scoffing, "We can buy medicine anywhere." The wife laughed. "You think my life's work is something you can buy at a drugstore?" She leaned in and delivered the final blow. "I know everything. I know you two spent Valentine's Day together while I was bleeding for his cure." The CEO froze. His secret was out. He looked up at the woman he had betrayed, realized he had lost his money, his health, and his only true love, all in one day.